Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this awesome looking modern skyscraper. I have had so many requests to make one of these over the years that I have completely lost track on how many times you guys have actually requested this. If you do enjoy this video, please do smack that like button. Smack that like button like it's trying to steal the last Malteser. You're not going to let that happen, are you? Smack that like button, otherwise that Malteser's gone and it's never coming back. By the way, if you do like the video, consider subscribing to the channel. If you like this video, you'll probably like all of the other content that I post, so please do subscribe. Say hello if you do subscribe to the channel, and also if you do say hello, not only will I try my best to say hello back, but you should also hit that little bell next to the subscription button, and that'll ensure that you actually get my videos sent directly to your sub box, because otherwise that just sometimes doesn't happen. Now, that's enough begging for likes. Why don't I actually show you the inside of this skyscraper a little bit? So, this skyscraper is obviously heavily outside focus. Like, the building is what you want, but the inside can look nice as well, and it doesn't take too much to do it. This is the lobby of the skyscraper that we have right here. I figured that we have a nice central point focused all the way around it. It's very, very clear around there, and at the back, the part that sticks out of the back, this is where we actually have the way in which we can travel up and down the scraper. So we have a big, giant, long set of stairs, and this takes us to each one of the individual floors. I've noticed it's actually almost impossible for me to access this floor, but each one of the floors looks a little like this. We have a hallway that separates the left-hand side of the scraper from the right-hand side of the scraper, so it's a big, nice hallway on every single floor that looks like this, and we have a lot of office space, or just space in general, that you could easily turn this into a hotel if you wanted to. You could turn it into an office building, you could just turn it into like a general purpose building, and just to show you that every single one of these floors are the same, you can see that this is also the exact same hallway. It should look very, very similar, except we haven't knocked into the sides, which are once again identical. Now, you do have access to the roof with the skyscraper. If we were to come all the way up, you will find yourself that you pop out all the way up to the top back part of the skyscraper. You have another internal part of the skyscraper here, which you could use as like a roof garden or something like that, something nice and peaceful up here. I haven't designed that for you, and you do also have these parts on the outer side of the scraper. So that is the skyscraper, ladies and gentlemen. Please do remember that if you enjoyed this video, please do slap that like, subscribe for more, and that is probably just about everything. Why don't I actually show you how to make this thing now? So if you want to make it, here's what you'll need. Grab yourself some block of quartz, some quartz stairs, some quartz slabs, some cyan hardened clay, and some blue stained glass block. Those are the only materials that you actually need to make the skyscraper itself. If you want to delve into the inside and even the outside of the scraper, you will need more things, but these are the base materials that you need to actually make the building. And speaking of the building of the skyscraper will fit into a 31 by 35 block area. So this is 31 blocks coming across the front of the skyscraper, and that will be 35 blocks going towards the back of the skyscraper. So just so you know, that's the area that it will fit in. Now, once you've figured out where you want to make it, and if you do make like a 31 by 35 rectangle on the ground, if you dig into the ground so you can plan out better where you want to make the scraper, you're going to want to start on the front left-hand corner of your rectangle. And you want to move in, and you want to the right, find the 12th block into the right. So this is the first block, second, third, fourth, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. And on top of this 12th block, you want to place a block of quartz. Go back from that block of quartz by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then go left of that 5th block by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you want to do, looking at the ground like this, 4 upper left diagonals going towards the back of the build. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go back from that 4th up left diagonal by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an outward up left diagonal. Then go up by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you want to do an upright diagonal. And go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do 4 upper right diagonals. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then take that 4th diagonal and extend it to the right towards the center of the skyscraper by 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then take a look back at your skyscraper, so you want to look from the back to the front, and take that 5th block and extend it towards you by 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then take the 4th block in that row of 5, so the one coming inwards from the row of 5, and you want to go left of this block by 7 with your cyan stained clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Place a block of quartz next to it, extend that block of quartz towards you, and also extend that block of quartz backwards by 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, like this. You then want to take that 4th block of quartz and you want to extend it to the left, going towards the part of the skyscraper that we've not made yet. You want to extend it left by 5, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to do 4 upper left diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. You then want to go upwards by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an up left diagonal and go up by 6, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then do an upright diagonal. Go up by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do 4 up right diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go right by 4. Actually, you want to go right by 5. My apologies, you want to go right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You then want to go up. You want to go towards the front of the skyscraper by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you want to take a look at what you've just made. So you'll end up with a shape that should look exactly like that on the ground. It's quite easy to see the shape that you have made. It should be completely perfect on both sides, and by that I mean it should be symmetrical. One side should be the same as the other side. Now, okay, so this is what you want to do next. You now want to take this last quartz block that you placed and the first quartz block that you placed, and you want to go up by 3 with your block of quartz on top of each one of these quartz blocks. So that's 1, 2, and 3 on top of the last one that you placed, and that's 1, 2, and 3 on top of the very first one that you placed. Now, once you've done that, this is what we're going to do next. Oh, and you know what? You can also do the exact same thing. If you come to the back and you take the same quartz blocks that we have at the back here, you can do the same thing here. That's 1, 2, and 3. And you can do the same thing on 1, 2, and 3. Those 2 quartz blocks that stick out like this. So the same on the front and the back. What you can now do, however, is you can go up on top of every single other block of quartz. You can go up on top of every single other block of quartz on the ground, and you want to do 2 layers of glass on top of them. So it'll look like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so on and so forth. Now, this will take quite a long time. This will take a really long time, to be honest with you. This is one of the reasons that this skyscraper takes so long. It has a lot of glass in it, but this is going to show you how to make one of each one of the individual sections of the skyscraper, and I'll explain a little further later on what I mean by that, because whilst I didn't mention it at the start of this video, this skyscraper can be as big or as small as you like it. It doesn't have to be one size, it doesn't have to be as big as the one that I showed you at the start of the video, and it also doesn't have to be as small as the one at the start of the video. My personal skyscraper, the one that you've seen, actually has 11 stories. However, that is where I tapped out. You could make it a lot bigger than that. Now, once you have applied all of the glass to your skyscraper, you then want to do a layer of block of quartz on top of the glass. So this is going to make one of the many sections of your skyscraper. So we are just going to do this. We're going to add all of the block of quartz, and once we've done that, I'll show you how to add a little bit of detail to each one of the individual sections of the scraper. So we've now added all of the block of quartz, right? Well, now what we want to do is this. So on the back of the skyscraper, you see where we have this row of cyan hardened clay. Well, on top of this row of cyan hardened clay, we actually want to do 2 layers of blue glass. That's 1 and 2. And then on top of that second layer of blue glass, we want to add a layer of cyan hardened clay, like this. Now, every single row of cyan hardened clay that goes across horizontal, that is sandwiched in between glass, you want to do a row of quartz slabs in front of the upper half of cyan hardened clay. So you'll only run into this on the back of the skyscraper and on the front of the skyscraper, because if we now come to the front, we're now going to make the entrance of the scraper. So to make the entrance of the scraper, it's very, very simple. We want to begin with a row of cyan hardened clay that connects this block and the opposite block together. So like we have on the back, we want to connect the second row of quartz coming in top. We want to connect the top of it left to right like that. We then want to do a row of quartz slabs in front of the upper half of the cyan hardened clay. We now want to have a row of cyan hardened clay, a row of 3 cyan hardened clay coming up from this block here and this block here for the entrance. So coming in by one row, left and right, we want to have the row of 3 cyan hardened clay. We then want to connect those rows of cyan hardened clay together with a row of quartz slabs. We want to do a row of blue glass inside of the entrance left and right here. And we also want to shorten the entrance. So to do that, we simply want to add a layer of blue glass here, just inside the entrance. And from the outside, it'll look like this. Very nice. Now, once you've got that sorted out, whether you know it or not, you have actually completed one layer of the skyscraper, one story. Let me show you how to add an additional story of the skyscraper. So that is simply one. This next one is going to start the exact same way. So this next layer of the skyscraper, we want to begin by raising up the 2 front corners of the front of the scraper and the 2 back corners of the back of the scraper. We want to do rows of 3. So that's 1, 2, and 3 coming up, and 1, 2, 3 coming up like that. And we want to come to the back and we want to do the same thing. We want to do 1, 2, and 3. And we want to do 1, 2, and 3. On top of the cyan hardened clay, you can stack 2 layers of blue glass. That's 1 layer, and that will be 2 layers of glass. Then you can stack another layer of cyan hardened clay. And you can do the same on the front. You can do 2 layers of glass. That's 1 layer, and then 2 layers of glass. And then you add a layer of cyan hardened clay. And then on top of every single other quartz block, you can add blue glass. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so on and so forth. You add it all the way up on top of each one of the blocks of quartz. So that will be 2 layers of glass added on top of this, and this will be, once we've completed it, the second story of our skyscraper. And once we have completed this layer, we can actually repeat this process over and 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 over again. We can repeat this process until we actually have a 100% fully completed skyscraper. So I'll show you what I mean. However, I will also show you the detail that does go into making the skyscraper. So let me show you. Once we've added all of this blue glass on top, not only do you want to just have the blue glass, but you then want to have the block of quartz added directly on top as well. And do remember that once you have added the block of quartz, we do also have the quartz slab to add in front of the upper half of the rows of cyan hardened clay. So, I'm actually missing a layer of blue glass on top of the left-hand part of the skyscraper. It's very easy to forget because each side is quite big. So by the time you've finished one side, you're probably gonna realize, hey, I think I've done it. And then you go over to the other side, it's like, oh my god, I'm only halfway done. So once we've got all of this quartz added, I will show you the little bit of detail that we always add to the cyan hardened clay. So if we look at the front here, we want to add a layer of quartz slab here, just in front of the upper half of the row of cyan hardened clay, and we want to add a layer of quartz slab here in front of the upper half of cyan hardened clay on the back. Now, this is what the skyscraper looks like here, like this, without any additional detail added. This is very, very boring. However, the way that we make each one of the levels of the skyscraper look a little bit nicer is like this. So the first thing we will do is we will add cyan hardened clay in between the corners of the skyscraper at every single level. So can you see, like on the front left hand corner of the skyscraper, we have added cyan hardened clay into like the diagonal parts of the skyscraper, like this, in between the quartz. And this is the front right hand side. We're going to do the same thing here. We want to add our cyan hardened clay in between the diagonal parts of the quartz of the skyscraper. So each one of the four corners, like the four diagonal bits, the curved parts that make the circle, or kind of circle that the skyscraper is, we want to add cyan hardened clay. This adds an additional color to the skyscraper. It looks very nice like this. However, there are levels deeper that we can go into this. So on the left hand side and the right hand side of the skyscraper, and I don't think we have no detail, no, okay. So on the left hand side and the right hand side of the skyscraper, where you have these rows of 7, whether you know it or not, these are rows of 7, you want to come in from each end of the row of 7 and you want to place a cyan hardened clay coming inwards from each one of the rows of 7. You want to extend the cyan hardened clay up as high as you can go with that particular side of the skyscraper. So if you have 2 stories, it wants to go as high as 2 stories. You then want to place upside down quartz stairs in between each one of the levels of the skyscraper. So coming in between each one of the rows of cyan hardened clay, at every single layer of the skyscraper that you have block of quartz, you want to place upside down quartz stairs in front of the layers of quartz to connect the left hand side of the row that we've just made to the right hand side of the row. If we come over to the opposite side, I can show you what I mean again. So coming in by one from the left hand side and the right hand side of the very right skyscraper, we want to have rows of cyan hardened clay. We then want to connect them together with rows of upside down quartz stairs like this, and the rows of stairs are in line with the quartz of the skyscraper. Now, once you've got that taken care of on both sides, and by the way, that level of detail wants to go as high as the skyscraper is. Now, okay, so let me show you how to add the next bit of detail to the skyscraper. All the way around the skyscraper, you'll notice that you have rows of 5. So you'll find these connected together with the cyan hardened clay. So the cyan hardened clay that you placed earlier, you'll find the rows of 5 connected to them. You want to take the second block in the rows of 5 and the fourth block in the rows of 5, and you want to do rows of cyan hardened clay in front of the second blocks and the fourth blocks to cut the rows of 5 into 3 different sections. You then want to take the bottom block, you want to take the quartz block in between, in the middle of these rows of cyan hardened clay. You want to take the quartz blocks and you want to place upside down and then regular facing, and then upside down stairs in front of the quartz blocks. And that is a pattern in which you continue until you reach the top of your skyscraper. So if yours is higher, then you will do upside down, regular facing, so on and so forth. So everywhere that we have the rows of 5, like here for instance, you take the second block and the fourth blocks, you do your cyan hardened clay in front of them, and then you place your upside down, regular facing, upside down stairs in front. And you will find another row of 5 here towards the back. And I've just made a mess with the cyan hardened clay. And you want to do the same thing here with the quartz stairs, upside down, regular, upside down. And if we come all the way to the back, we'll once again find another row of 5. So once again, that means that we place the cyan hardened clay with the quartz stairs in between them. And if we come to the back again, we'll have even more of them to do. I believe that there are 3 on any given side of the skyscraper. So in total, you'll have to do this 6 times. It's very, very easy to do. It's really easy detail to add. However, once you do it so many times, it does get a little bit tiresome. So this is what we want to have. We just have 2 more to do, because we have this one and then we have the one on the front right hand side. And once this is done, we will then discuss how to make your skyscraper bigger. So we've now just got this little bit of detail to add, and then that will, like I said, like I keep rabbiting on with, this will be the last amount of detail that you have to add to a given particular part of the skyscraper. So this is it, guys. This is what the skyscraper looks like. Fundamentally, this is what the skyscraper is. It is basically this second layer of the skyscraper added over and over and over and over and over again until you eventually have the amount of floors that you want. So, we can keep going with this forever. Literally, it can go as high as you want. I mean, there is a cap on how high you can make it, but you can make as many floors as you want. I think I'm going to make 11 floors in total, so I already have 2, therefore I need to do 9 more. And remember guys, this is how it works. It's the front 2 corners of the skyscraper, you extend them up each by 3 with the block of quartz, that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. You do the same thing with the back, that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You add 2 layers of glass on top of the cyan hardened clay, that's 1 layer of glass, and then 2 layers of glass. You then add another row of cyan hardened clay, and you do a row of quartz slabs in front of the upper half of the cyan. Now you'll have to do that 2 times because we also have the front, so that's 2 layers of glass added on top of the cyan hardened clay, with then another row of cyan hardened clay up on top of it. You then add a row of quartz slabs on top of the upper half. Then it is as easy as adding 2 layers of glass all the way around on top of the quartz frame of the skyscraper. So you just add your 2 layers of glass on top of the quartz frame of the skyscraper. It is very tedious. It takes a really long while. And once you've added your 2 layers of glass, you will then add your quartz on top of it. And the difference being this time is once you've added your layer of quartz on top of it, you can then feel free to add the detail that you like to any given one of the these sections of the skyscraper. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So this next part, you can either leave it blank, or once you've added the block of quartz and stuff, you can either leave it blank or you can add the detail to it, or alternatively you can put in all of the floors that you're ever going to add. You can make it as high as you like, and then you can add the detail in afterwards. That choice is completely yours. But this is the last layer of the skyscraper that I will actually be making on recording. I'm sure that once you guys have seen me do this layer, you will very easily be able to repeat this until you are satisfied. So I might even make this one a little bit bigger than the original. I'm not 100% sure yet, but this is as high as the skyscraper is going. So boom, there we go. We have all of the block of quartz added. And that is the base layer of the skyscraper. If we then wanted to, we could then add all of the detail to this layer that we did on the previous layers. So we can add all of the cyan hardened clay and stuff, and we can make this layer look exactly like the previous layers. Or what we can do is we can kind of just make the skyscraper as high as we want from here. So we can keep adding floors and levels and stuff on top of the skyscraper. We can add it, we can make it as high as we like, and we can just kind of like build each section at a time. It doesn't really matter in what order you make the skyscraper. All that matters is that you are eventually satisfied with how tall it is. So it's basically that process repeated over and over and over and over and over again until you are happy with the end result. Now guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away, I'm going to follow my own advice, I'm going to do exactly what I've just shown you guys to do. However, I am now going to add, how many floors are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, because I've kind of like, I've extended it a little bit at the front. I'm now going to add another 5 layers on top of this to make this skyscraper 11 stories in total. I'll do that and then I'll be back with you very, very shortly. Okay, so as you guys might be able to see, this is how I am building up my skyscraper. Yeah, a second has just passed by since we just had a few stories, and now we have, in total, I do believe that we have 11 stories. Now, I could keep going with this, however, I'm not going to, because I think that this is about as tall as I want this huge thing to get. So, now that I've built up like the shell of the skyscraper, the next thing for me to do is for me to add all of the detail. That includes all of the cyan and all of the stairs. I'll be adding all of that, and then I'll show you what this thing looks like once that is done. Now, obviously, you can do this in 2 different ways. Like I said, you can make it like this, and then you can add all the detail, or you can make each floor as detailed as the last. However, this is as tall as my skyscraper is going to get. I'll show you once again once I've added all the detail. So as you might be able to see, we now have all of our stories built with all of the detail added. Yeah, that is a long time, I think that took actually over 40 minutes to do, and it obviously takes longer and longer the higher this thing gets. Now, I understand that you may still be working on your very own skyscraper. Odds are you've probably just started it if you're following this video along logically. So if you are actually still working on the stories, please do pause this video here. You'll have to pause this video and then come back to it once you have your skyscraper as high as you want it with all of the detail added. Now, that being said, the next thing that we're going to do, once you've reached this point right here, is we have to fill in the top of the skyscraper. So I'm going to be filling the top of my skyscraper in with block of quartz. Yeah, pretty boring, but that's what we're going to do here. We're going to fill this in with block of quartz. Now, the reason that we're filling it in with quartz, the reason that we're even doing anything to the top of the skyscraper right here, is because once we have this filled in, we have an additional part of the skyscraper to build. So, the skyscraper isn't just like all of the stories. There is a part on top of the scraper that, like, you can walk in, you can walk around. Originally, it was the part of the skyscraper where you were supposed to, like, emerge. Like, you can climb it and climb it and climb it, and when you get to the top, I originally planned it so that you would actually come up and you would be inside of a room. However, since I did modify the skyscraper a little bit before you actually saw the finished version, I did modify it so that you actually emerge at the back of the skyscraper. So you have, you actually come out on like the terrace, on like, it's like a big giant balcony on the back of the skyscraper, so that it's not like it is, like it was before. But originally you did used to pop out in the center of the room, but it has been changed. Now, once we have the big room built on top of the skyscraper, we then have to add a little bit of quartz slabs. We have to add that to the scraper. So once we've added our quartz slabs to the scraper, we also have some glass to add, and that will be the actual outside of the building complete in all of the ways. Now, once the outside of the building has been complete, I will show you how to make these stairs, and I'll show you in which position you actually, or I designed it. I'll show you the position that I designed these stairs to go in. It's more of, well, it's a ladder. It's a big giant ladder, basically. But there's so many ways to make this. There's so many ways to customize the interior, completely dependent upon the fact that what you actually want to use the skyscraper for. Then, I mean, like I said, it's the inside of this thing is completely up to you, but I will show you where I designed my stairs / ladders to be. So, I've just about filled in the top of this. This will allow me to, like I said, to do all of the things to the top of the skyscraper that I actually want to do. Very, very boring filling this thing in. It's a big, giant area. You don't realize how big this thing is until you've actually filled it in. So, boom. There we go, guys. That is what the top of the skyscraper wants to look like once it's been filled in. So now the top of the skyscraper is filled in, I can now show you what we're going to do next. Now that we have this big flat surface, what we now want to do is everywhere around the skyscraper that we have the cyan stained clay and the stairs in between, we want to extend those cyan stained clays, the hardened clays as they're now known. You want to add the cyan hardened clays and you want to extend up on top of them each by one. So coming up, poking up one row beyond the skyscraper, we want to add an additional cyan hardened clay, like I said, that pokes out of the top of the scraper, like that, right? Now, in between each one of these cyan hardened clays, we want to add, and this is kind of difficult to explain, but what we basically want to do is we want to add a layer of quartz slabs that kind of like goes all the way around the top of the skyscraper. And it just wants to go around on top of the quartz of the skyscraper. It doesn't want to go in between the, like, it doesn't want to go in between the cyan hardened clays, but it does want to go around the quartz at the top of the skyscraper. So it doesn't want to, it wants to basically go around the original layer of quartz that we have for the skyscraper. So I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. It's easier to see rather than do. But what you basically want to do, and you can see it quite easily actually, you want to extend up this shape of the skyscraper. So you can see that it doesn't connect in any of the corners except for the corners on the front of the skyscraper and the back of the skyscraper. And this is important to point out because what you now want to do once you've added your layer of block of quartz is where the quartz connects to in the corners on the front and the back, you want to add an additional slab on top of the quartz corners that connect, like this. You then want to go up on top of those quartz blocks by 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and on the back also, 1, 2, and that'll be 1, 2. You want to connect those blocks front to back, so the entire front of the skyscraper wants to be connected to the entire back of the skyscraper, just front to back, with these blocks of quartz. Once you've done that, you then want to connect the second blocks coming in with the block of quartz together with a row of cyan hardened clay like this. So you want to take the cyan hardened clay one row inwards from the front and the back, and you also want to add a layer of quartz slab in front of the top half of the cyan hardened clay, and this row of cyan hardened clay can also be extended front to back until it is in the relevant position on the front of the back, and you just want to connect the sides together. You basically want to draw a big giant rectangular shape, as you can see me doing here. And we also want to, like I said, there wants to be quartz slabs in front of the upper half of the cyan hardened clay. Now, we just want to add some entrances coming in from the front and from the left and right hand side of this building that we have here. So at the top, you can just kind of like add some cyan hardened clay, and you can just like form 2 entrances. Now, it's kind of difficult to figure out where the center of this building is, but you can actually use the sides of the skyscraper, like the left and right, and you can kind of figure out where the center of this building is. And once you've figured out one center, you can figure out the other center like this, and you can kind of like add 2 entrances. And then I would quite simply seal up those entrances using glass. I'd simply use glass to seal up the entrances, and you can, even if you wanted to, you can add like little like a little entrance on the back here, just so that you can like have like a sealed off room. You don't have to have like a big giant open plan thing. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the little build that you have up top here. It's very, very simple, very easy. In fact, it's you basically you have like a big giant rectangular 3D shape, and then you just add entrances to it. I mean, that's the simplest way that I can put it. You don't even have to have access to the front if you don't want, but it's kind of cool to be able to explore the entire top of this thing, so it is cool to have kind of like an entrance up top here. And of course, we also want the top of this thing to be filled in with glass. And aesthetically, to the outside of the skyscraper, there is just one thing that we're going to be adding after this. So once we've added the glass to the top of this part of the skyscraper, the last thing that we will be doing is we will be adding glass around the top of the inside of the skyscraper. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a mo, but we essentially want to make a room that looks like that. That's very, very easy. Then we want to place a layer of glass block that sits inside of the quartz slabs that we have around the top of the skyscraper. We want to have a layer of, like I said, we want to have a layer of glass inside of the quartz slabs that we have at the top of the skyscraper, and that will be the finishing touch on the outer part of the scraper. So we want to have something which should look like this, and from the outside, I mean, we've got to zoom out a little bit, we'll have something which looks like that, which is an incredibly impressive looking building. Looks absolutely insane. Now, once you yourself have reached this point right here, and if you have followed the tutorial correctly along, hopefully you have hit this point, the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to show you where the stairs are. Just as easy as that. So the stairs for this particular build look like this. So we come all the way to the inside of the back center of the skyscraper. I'm going to run a row of cyan hardened clay all the way up the back center of the scraper. And I'm going to do a ladder that runs all the way from the top of this row all the way down to the bottom of this row, like this. Then I'm going to, let's grab a different material. Let's grab, say, pillar quartz block. I'm now going to form a circular shape around the base of the ladders. So I'm going to have, say, a nice circular shape like this around the base of the ladders. I'm going to follow this shape all the way up. So this is what these stairs are going to look like, that comes all the way up from the bottom of the skyscraper all the way to the top. It's situated right in the very back center of the skyscraper. All of these stairs are going to follow through. On top of the quartz, I'm just going to place some glass. Your stairs can look completely different. If you want to have kind of like the classic, sort of like classic looking zigzag stairs, then you feel free to do that. You can have like classic, normal, zigzaggy, regular stairs. You can have that 100% no problem. Or you can have something like mine where it's kind of like a glass tube. Which is kind of like what we have. So I think mine looks ever so slightly fancier. Mine's supposed to emulate a lift. It's not a lift though. It's not an elevator. It doesn't work, unfortunately. But that's kind of like what the aesthetic that we're going for. So like a nice fancy lift. That'll take you in between each one of the levels. So this will take you in between each one of the levels of your skyscraper. Now, it's up to you where you want each one of the floors to be. So if you wanted like the first floor of your skyscraper to be bigger than all of the other floors, then maybe like have a double floor. So maybe leave like 2 sections. If you then wanted every other floor to also be like 2 individual sections, then that's completely fine. I would have it though in such a way that as big as your skyscraper is, I would have it so that it's completely even. So I'd figure out like, okay, here's an example, right? This skyscraper has so many floors. I want each one of the 2 stories of the skyscraper to be 1 floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the top and I'm going to have, okay, so 2, and then this is where 1 floor is going to be. So we have 2 sections, this is 1 floor. Then I'm going to take another 2 sections, this is 1 floor, working my way down, 2 sections, this is 1 floor. Move down 2 sections, this is 1 floor, so you can see where all the floors are going to be. And then when you hit the bottom, you'll notice that, oh, we can't actually have, like, we can't have an even number of stories be 1 floor, if that makes sense. So I'm going to make these bottom 3 stories the lobby of the skyscraper. So that means that the first story, the first floor is going to be the first 3 stories of the skyscraper, if that makes sense. So this is where the skyscraper, this is where the very first floor is going to be. It's going to have, it's going to be right after the first 3 stories. And then it's completely up to you how you map out your skyscraper. So if you wanted to have it like mine, each one of the walls is like this. So each one of the walls to the hallway is like here. So each one of the walls to the hallway, basically it's positioned here. It's just like this is where the hall is that connects the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So this is the hall. This is present all the way through the center of the skyscraper. That leaves the rooms on the left and the right. But I think it might be a bit easier to show you that with the original version of the skyscraper. So this is the tutorial portion of this video completely done. However, I do now want to flip back to the original version of the skyscraper just so that you can get a couple of ideas what you might want to do to the inside and the outside, as this is not in the tutorial. I'm not going to show you how to do the inside and the outside. That is completely up to you. Let me show you the original though. So we're back at the original version of the skyscraper now, and just to point this out, you can see that the lobby of this one is also 3 stories high. So we have 3 sections high at the lobby. And then if we were to come to the first floor of the skyscraper, if we come all the way up to the first floor, you'll note there is only 2 stories high for the first floor. And as you can see, the hallway is positioned here. It's positioned just inside of the center part of the actual skyscraper. You can see where this is supposed to be, and then it's the same thing for every single other one of the floors. It's all the same, coming all the way up to the top, and that's all I wanted to show you. And when it comes to the outside decoration of your skyscraper, it's cool if you have kind of like either a big square plot of land or maybe even a circular plot of land like this. And if you just add some like bushes or something to like each one of the corners and the sides, then you can really add just, I mean, it looks cool. Like it just fits the shape of the skyscraper. It looks very, very nice. If you add some like bushes or some flowers and a base around the skyscraper, then it really does just make it fit in nicely. And when it comes to the lobby, you can kind of do whatever you want here, but I would suggest a lot of light. I would definitely suggest a lot of light when it comes to the lobby. I'd suggest a central point, and I would also suggest something fancy and interesting, very modern looking lights, and just a load of, I don't know, just add a little splash of colour, but do keep to the colour scheme of like white, light, and blue. Like that's what I'd basically tell you. But yeah, guys, that's the skyscraper. That's what it looks like once you have added everything to it. That is how it looks. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do hit that like button. Smack that like button like it tried to steal your last Malteser, because that is not acceptable. If you do like the video, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really, really appreciate that. Hopefully, if you like the skyscraper, you'd probably want to subscribe anyway. If you do subscribe, say hello down there in the comment section. I would like to say hello back as well. Also, if you do subscribe, hit the little bell next to the subscription button, and that will mean that you get all of my videos sent directly to your sub box. And speaking of my videos, if you do want to check out the channel a little bit more, I would highly suggest checking out the card system and the description below, because in there you will find all sorts of playlists that will show you how to make things like this. So as you can see, this is a city, or at least it's the beginnings of it. If you wanted to make anything that you could see down here, all you'd have to do is find the City Builds playlist. That's in the card system in the description below. That includes all of the townhouses, the church, the music shop, the Domino's Pizza, the barber shop, the train station, supermarket, petrol station. That even includes the skyscraper off in the distance that we've made as well. All of those can be found in the City Builds playlist, and anything else that I make in the future will also be added there too. If you wanted to make anything from like a public park, let's say, then you will check out the Park Builds playlist, and that would show you all of the crazy insaneness that we have in the public park, ranging from houses to tennis courts to soccer pitches to duck ponds to basketball courts, skate parks, you name it, we have it. And if none of those things are your thing, if you don't want to do any of that stuff, then I would highly suggest checking out all of my individual house playlists, because we make a lot of houses around here. Like if you wanted to make a British house, like this is actually modeled on my own house, the one that I'm making this tutorial from. This is like my actual house in Minecraft. This is like a British house. If you wanted to make like a modern house, you check out my modern house playlist. You check that out. That's like a modern mansion that I've made. We also have like another modern house. You'd find that in the modern playlist, and also this one. And if you wanted to make any suburban houses, you check out the suburban house playlist, which would feature this house and even this house and even this big giant pink mansion. The same thing goes with all of the houses that we have over here in this part of the world as well. Like this is a suburban mansion that I've made, and that's another modern mansion, and that is a suburban house. Like we have all sorts of things to accommodate you in the card system and the description below. I just hope that you'd be able to find something that you'd like to build. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you did enjoy this. This is the first skyscraper that I've ever made. I'd be willing to make another one, but you guys would have to let me know down there in the comment section whether or not you would want to see that at all. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day. I hope that no one takes your last Malteser, and I'll see you guys in the next video.